Hi folks, in that programme, Amadeus, the court composer near the end says to Mozart that he asked God that if God could just give him some talent, that he would then honour God with that. And Amadeus Mozart said, he doesn't listen to us. And that was a very true point. As soon as I heard that, I thought, oh, spot on. Absolutely spot on. Because the reality is, we need to hear him. And yet we think he needs to hear us. We need to go to him with all our problems and our moanings and our groanings. Oh Lord, my life is awful. I need your help. My life is awful. Oh, this boss and this employee and this person doesn't like me. Really? Do you not think God can see all of that? Do you not think he knows all of that already? Does he need you to whinge and moan to him about all of that? Does he need you to ask him to get you a better job? No, because again, he's looking at you saying, okay, listen to me and you'll have your better job. Shut up for 5 seconds and listen to me, and then you might actually get what you're looking for. Because the things that are in the way of you getting that are in you. Right? The only way you're going to get that thing sorted out is by listening to God. By receiving from him. Rather than you thinking somehow, what? He's up there waiting for you to say to him what's going on your day today. Really? No. That God hears all your prayers, but he can't help it, can he, really, because you bitch and moan all the blinking time. So your bitching and moaning gets to God, yes. As mine does. But it has no relevance to him. It has no relevance to what he's going to do. At no point in time is God going to change what he's going to do based upon your bitching and moaning. So the whole idea that God hears his people, no, not really. Not really. It never was the case. Even with Israel, that never was really the case. What was the case is that when the people were in a position of being repentant and, looking at God again, then they received. But it wasn't because of the fact that they were wailing and howling. That made no difference. What made a difference was it real? When it was real, when they were in that position of repentance and having that repentant heart coming back to God, then they received. It was the coming back to God and having that repentant heart that mattered. It wasn't the noise they were making. So the whole idea that God hears, no. He may hear your heart, but he doesn't care about the noise you make. And this is where church has been so incredibly wrong. So incredibly demonically led in believing that all your troubles, all your issues and your problems are a concern to God. They're not. They're a concern to you. What is a concern to God is you getting to a point where you can receive from him the things that will be the answer for your life. Now, for most people, you're never going to get there. The reason you're never going to get there because you believe it's about bitching and moaning to God and that somehow your solution is going to come from that. In a way, sometimes it will. The reason why sometimes it will is because, if you pray 1,000,000 times about your problems, but you pray slightly differently every time, maybe one day you're going to hit on something that's going to matter. Maybe one day you're going to hit on that prayer that's going to be the right prayer, the right words, the right questions to get the answers that you need. But that's pure luck. Pure luck. If you finally get that, that's luck. That's basically because you've thrown so many stones into the river to try to hit something. Eventually, after 1,000,000 stones, you've actually hit it. Well done. But you could have been led by God and hit it with the first stone. Right? Yeah. So 1,000,000 prayers, finally hitting the thing you need. One prayer could have done it if you were led. But people won't be led by God. People will be led by their emotions. They'll be led by their soul, not by their spirit. And so therefore they will never receive. The chances are that you will actually make 1,000,000 prayers to somehow, one day pray the right thing to get the answer is incredibly unlikely. And for most people, it's not going to happen. And that's why most people in church will just, continue being in church, not moving, not growing, dying, and probably going to hell as a result, because they have no understanding of the nature of God, because they've never bothered to listen. They've never bothered to understand that your job is to hear him. Your job is to focus on the words of Christ. In the words of Christ, you get God, because they are the words of God. The words of Paul and Peter and John are not the words of God, not in the letters to the churches. They're the words of Paul, of Peter and John. They are them writing to the churches about their own concerns and about their own things. And unfortunately speaking, as I say, we have a New Covenant book that was never really finished. It never really had time to be finished because the persecution killed off the early church that quickly that they never really had time to think, well, hold it. While the persecution was going on, nobody thought, well, hold it. We have an Old Covenant, an Old Testament. We have the Torah. Surely for this belief system, they're going to have a book, so we need to be careful what we write. Nobody ever did that. Nobody ever assumed that they would, because they assumed that they would have time to do so. But we're in the situation that we're supposed to be in. I'm not concerned about it in any way, shape or form. I'm just pointing out that, most people in the church, they tend to go by what? They tend to go by the letters to the churches and the Old Testament. They don't really go by the words of the Son of God. Again, in churches, that's all you should be receiving is the Son of God. Really. I mean, there is probably, I say, about 10% of what was written to the churches that is actually relevant for us. Maybe 15%. But you can't really trust the pastors who are trained in Bible college to be able to find them, can you? So, focus on your relationship with God. Focus on receiving from him rather than what you can bitch and moan to him about. And then you might receive what you need.